Midrash Sifri, Talmud, Sota 14, which Maimonides himself counts as one of the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah, Buku Mitzvot, positive commandment number 8. And then the same Torah says, but you're allowed to be nasty to your slaves. The tension screws tighter. Why are we kind and compassionate? Because the Holy One, blessed be He, gave us His Torah. So how can that same Torah that makes us kind permit oppressive labor of a fellow divine image? How about a little consistency over here? Why can't the Torah start out right with the laws of servants? If you have people working for you, you must treat them as equals. You must talk to them in a pleasant voice, listen to their complaints, feed them the same food you eat, provide employee benefits, regular vacations, perks and incentives, great office parties, stock options in the company, in-house professional massage therapy at lunch break and a sushi bar on every floor. If you don't like it, do the work yourself. Why not? Because that would undermine the purpose of Torah, the purpose. As we discussed, Torah is a radical element in our world. Torah is that which says, this is not the way things are supposed to be. Do like this. Not like that. That's why Torah had to be given. We couldn't just figure it out on our own. Because to effect real change it must come from outside the system. On the other hand, Torah is the essence of all things. As the sages called it, a blueprint of the universe. So the Torah affects change not by imposing an exogenous order, but by revealing the inner, hidden order latent within all things. Torah is very much like a good teacher, one who shows you who you really are, which may be very different, even the opposite, of who you think you are. The Torah affects change not by imposing an exogenous order, but by revealing the inner, hidden order latent within all things. So the Torah, of necessity, has two faces. Unlike human wisdom, which has one face. Human wisdom must either reject or accept the status quo. But Torah is a voice heard from beyond, and so it may have two faces at once. On the one hand, the Torah speaks from a future that has yet to occur, inspiring us with its vision, pulling us toward that time. On the other hand, the Torah must deal with the world as it is, not artificially imposing upon it a foreign mold, but bringing it on its own from the place it stands by nature and circumstance to the place it truly belongs. Let's start simple. Take an agrarian society surrounded by hostile nations. Go in there and forcefully abolish slavery. The result? War, bloodshed, hatred, prejudice, poverty, and eventually, a return to slavery until the underlying conditions change. Which is pretty much what happened in the American South when the semi-industrialized North imposed their laws upon the agrarian South. And in Texas when Mexico attempted to abolish slavery among the Anglophones there. Not a good idea. Better idea, place humane restrictions upon the institution of indentured servitude. Yes, it's still ugly, but in the meantime, you will teach people compassion and kindness. Educate. Make workshops. Go whitewater rafting together. Hey, why didn't Abe Lincoln think of whitewater rafting? Eventually, things change and slavery becomes an anachronism for such a society, which is pretty much what happened to Jewish society. Note this, at a time when Romans had literally thousands of slaves per citizen, even the wealthiest Jews held very modest numbers of servants. And those servants, the Talmud tells us, were treated better by their masters than foreign kings would treat their own subjects. Torah teaches us how to run a libertarian society, through education and participation. Elsewhere in the world, emperors and aristocracy knew only how to govern a mass of people through oppression. Look what happened to Rome, when Roman slaves began demanding a day of rest among other privileges, along with talk of her personal relationship directly to GD. Emperor Constantine made sure to dismiss the whole concept of mitzvahs and human dignity by adopting a stripped-down, benign version of Judaism for his empire. That'll keep him quiet, he thought, and it did, for about 1,000 years. So the conservative radical approach of Torah is this: work with the status quo to get beyond it. Torah is more about process than about content. Climbing deeper, are you satisfied with this answer? I'm not. I'm convinced there's a deeper effect that Torah is looking for. Call it the participatory effect, aka nurture. The participatory effect tells us that if you want people to follow rules, you put guns to their heads. But if you want them to learn, grow, internalize those rules and be able to teach them to others, you're going to have to involve them in the process of forming those rules. School teachers do this when they work with their class on the first day to design rules that everyone will see as reasonable and useful. Parents do this when they allow their child to make mistakes so that as he will learn from them. A skilled wife is doing this when she gets her husband to believe that he came up with the idea of retiling the kitchen floor. In general, this strategy comes more naturally to women than to men. Men find it much easier to shove their opinions down other people's throats and, if need be, argue the other into the ground until he surrenders. All variations of the old gun to the head technique. Women are designed to nurture, physically and emotionally, so they take naturally to the participatory technique. To quote Glegal of Hameln, she was a true woman of valor. She knew how to control her husband's heart. In Torah, both the masculine and the feminine approaches exist. They're called the written Torah and the oral Torah. The written Torah, principally, the 5 books of Moses, but also including all the prophets and scriptures, lays down the law in a fatherly, authoritarian voice. It says, these are the rules. They are for your own good, whether you understand that or not. I only made them because I love you so much. If you don't like them, just remember that I'm a lot bigger than all of you put together. Then along comes the mother of us all, the oral Torah. Although the oral Torah includes many fixed traditions, some originating from Moses and even earlier, the bulk of the oral Torah is our own participation in the process of Torah. The written Torah itself empowers us to discuss matters, expand on that which we have received, extrapolate and make decisions accordingly. It was concerning the oral Torah that Rabbi Yehoshua ben